Just 50 miles outside of the bright lights of Las Vegas lies a place that feels completely unreal. Welcome to the Valley of Fire State Park, Nevada's oldest and one of its most breathtaking state parks. Towering red sandstone formations, ancient petroglyphs carved thousands of years ago, and landscapes so wild it looks like another planet. After departing Zion National Park the day before, we made our way towards the Valley of Fire before sunrise. We entered through the eastern side of the park and started headed west. Figured we'd drive until sunrise to make the most of our time here and hopefully beat the extreme heat this place is known for. As the sky slowly began to light up, the red rock formations started glowing all around us, and we quickly realized why this place is called the Valley of Fire. Today we're going to be exploring scenic drives, hidden overlooks, narrow caves, big horned sheep, and some of the most incredible desert views in the American Southwest. From fiery rock formations glowing in the sunlight to the silence of the Mojave Desert, this place truly lives up to its name. Our first stop into the park was Petroglyph Canyon, followed by the Rainbow Vista Trailhead. Petroglyph Canyon is a treasure trove of ancient art, offering a glimpse into the lives of the people who once roamed this land. Many of these petroglyphs date back as far as 2000 BC, etched into the sandstone by ancient indigenous cultures thousands of years ago. From ancient petroglyphs, we now head into one of the most colorful landscapes in the Valley of Fire State Park, Rainbow Vista. This stunning overlook showcases layers of sandstone painted in shades of red, pink, orange, yellow, and white, created by millions of years of geological activity. Let's start climbing up this rock formation to give you a first-hand perspective from the top of Rainbow Vista. Watch as the rock transitions from a smooth face to a much more rugged and technical climb. From up here, you can truly appreciate just how beautiful and unique these formations are. The swirling layers of color shaped by millions of years of geological forces create an incredible landscape unlike anywhere else. Let's just head on out across here, take a jump down, across this little valley. We'll take a look down, see how far down it is. Let's head on out to the point of this rock. As you can see, that's the road we came up on. Absolutely stunning out across there. Let's take a moment to look around in this amazing view. It's still early in the morning as we're filming, and the soft morning sunlight perfectly highlights the vibrant reds, orange, pinks, and yellows that make this Valley of Fire so famous. The colors seem to glow as sun rises higher in the sky. This is one of the many reasons why arriving early is so important. Not only do you avoid the heat and the crowds, but you also get to experience the park at its most beautiful time. Okay, time to get moving as there are still many trails and rock formations to explore before the heat takes over. Let's jump up on top of this little ledge here and head down the trail. Well, maybe not that way. Let's go this way. It looks a little safer. As we make our way back down this rock formation, there are a few important park details to keep in mind. There is a $15 per day vehicle entrance fee for out-of-state vehicles, and the park is open year-round, 365 days a year. However, from May 15th through September 30th, several trails are closed each year due to the extreme summer conditions. This is Rainbow Vista Trail. Right from the beginning, you can see where it gets its name. The surrounding rocks and sand often display beautiful shades of color, creating a natural rainbow effect that changes depending on the position of the sun and the time of day. The trail is about 1 mile round trip and is considered to be fairly easy hike with mostly flat terrain. However, there are sections with deeper sand that can make a walk a little more challenging, especially as you make your way through the opening desert landscape. The combination of colorful rock formations, desert views, and a changing light throughout the day makes Rainbow Vista one of the many spots in the Valley of Fire that is worth taking your time to experience. Well, we made it to the end of Rainbow Vista Trail. You can definitely see where this trail gets its name. The panoramic view from here is absolutely spectacular. The layers of colorful sandstone, unique rock formations, and the vast desert landscape come together to create a very impressive viewpoint of the park. This is White Dome's trailhead, and like many of the trails here in the Valley of Fire, it is short but incredibly rewarding hike, about a mile loop. As we look around, you'll immediately notice that the rock formations here are very different from what we have seen throughout the park so far. The reason comes down to geology. The white domes are made from Aztec sandstone of the Navajo Formation, dating back to roughly 150 to 190 million years to the Jurassic period. Like the famous red sandstone throughout the Valley of Fire, these formations were once massive sand dunes that hardened into stone over millions of years ago. However, the white domes were formed from areas of sandstone that were not exposed to the same iron rich water that gave the surrounding rocks their deep red color. This happened because this area was covered by a glacier, and since this area was froze, the iron rich water could not penetrate the stone. The white domes contain so much less iron, allowing them to weather into lighter shades of white, cream, and even a soft pink. Over millions of years, wind and water erosion sculptured these lighter sandstone formations into the smooth, rounded shapes we see today. The contrast between the bright white domes and the surrounding red cliffs and the narrow canyon sections makes this one of the most unique photogenic areas in the entire park. Now we're walking around one of the incredible formations at White Domes. And just look at the details carved into the stone. You can see the lines and textures left behind by the wind over thousands of years, slowly shaping this landscape into something truly unique. The colors, the layers, and the patterns throughout these rocks are a natural wonder that you could spend hours taking in. Up here at this great viewing point, the views stretch out all around, showing you just how amazing the formations of the Valley of Fire are. As I walk around this area, some of the shapes almost feel like I'm exploring the back of an ancient dragon, with the ridges and curves of the stone creating a landscape that looks like something from another world. The longer you look, the more the rocks seem to tell their own story. So let's take a minute and just look around at the views from this area. Sometimes it's not about moving to the next spot, but just stopping for the moment and appreciating what's in front of you. Now that we're off the rock formation and back onto the trail, making our way down to the lower elevation, as we continue along, you can really start to see how much the landscape changes once again. Every section of this trail reveals something different. The wind has played such a major role in shaping these rocks and exposing incredible patterns and formations hidden within the stone. Let's take a closer look at those formations and really appreciate the details. The closer you get, the more you notice the colors, the erosion patterns, and the unique shapes that make the White Dome such an amazing place to explore. Look at the way the layers and textures have been worn down. Every curve and edge tells the story of time, weather, and force of nature. This trail is also a piece of Hollywood history. The classic western The Professionals was filmed here in 1966, and remnants of the old movie set can still be seen along the trail today. Even visitors who come only for the natural beauty find these pieces of history a fascinating surprise. The White Domes area also has appeared in later productions, including The Electric Horseman and Star Trek Generations, adding another layer of history to the already incredible landscape here. As we leave the history of Hollywood behind us and continue down the trail, the landscape begins to change once again. Walking through this path carved into stone, I started noticing the beautiful layers of red sandstone mixed with lighter colored rock on both sides of the trail. Looking forward, you can see how much the landscape has already changed as the sun continues to rise higher in the sky. The vibrant colors that stood out earlier in the morning begin to fade as the angle of the sunlight changes, almost like the desert is slowly transforming right in front of us. This is another reminder as to why arriving early is so important when you visit the Valley of Fire. The morning light brings out the desert's deepest colors and strongest contrast and the most dramatic views across the sandstone formations. Watching the landscape change as the sun moves across the sky is truly part of the experience. As you leave the open desert behind, the trail narrows and the towering sandstone walls begin to surround us on both sides. The canyon walls reveal layers of red, pink, and cream-colored sandstone showing millions of years of geological history carved into the rock. The smooth curves and flowing patterns created by the wind and water erosion make every section of the canyon look completely unique. As we move deeper into the canyon, the walls rise higher above us. The walls become narrower. The sunlight filters through the narrow opening overhead, creating a constantly changing display of shadows and colors. One moment the sandstone glows brightly in the sun, the next it becomes cool and shaded as you pass between the formations. The best part of this section of this trail is how unexpected it feels. From outside, you would never guess this narrow canyon was hidden within the surrounding landscape. It is quite a peaceful place where you can slow down, look up, and appreciate just how powerful nature has been in shaping Valley of Fire over a million years. We spent a lot of time in this canyon, taking it all in, and the best thing about it is there was no other people around us, so we had it all to ourselves. With a great sadness, it is time to leave and finish the trail. And just like that, the canyon opened up to the desert. Let's look around and maybe climb up on a few high points before we travel back to the entrance of the park. As we finish up our time here at White Domes and getting ready to head back to our next destination, I spotted my father in law taking a little break. He says just taking some pictures, but from the looks of it, seems like he might be getting ready to take a nap. As we make our way back towards the entrance of the park, we spot some of the Valley of Fire's local residents. Making its way across the road and climbing effortlessly along the rocks, the park is home to a herd of desert bighorn sheep. These incredible animals can often be seen navigating the rocky terrain throughout the area. Seeing them in their natural environment is a special experience, a reminder of how well adapted they are to survive in this harsh desert landscape. If you are lucky enough to spot these animals during your visit, remember to always keep your distance and give them plenty of space. Desert bighorn sheep are wild animals, and while they may appear calm, they can react if they feel threatened or cornered. It is also important to remember that startling them can be dangerous for the animals themselves. If they panic and try to escape, they can get injured themselves while navigating the steep and rocky terrain they call home. It may appear on camera that we are closer than we really are, but I can assure you we kept safe distance and allowed them to move freely without being disturbed. I have experienced firsthand how powerful and unpredictable even farm animals can be when they feel threatened, so respecting wildlife is always the best approach. Let's give these incredible animals the space they deserve so they can remain calm, stay safe, and we can enjoy watching them in their natural habitats. Lots of babies.
Yep, that's lots of babies. No.
Mamas and the babies.
Yeah, we made it back to the entrance of the park, and right in front of us is the famous Elephant Rock. If you remember from the beginning of the video, it was still dark when we first arrived, so we decided to continue into the park and save this area for later when we can fully appreciate the view. Now it is around 11 a.m., and the desert heat is really starting to make an impact. The rocks and sand have been heating up under the sun, and the intense desert heat is coming from above and below. Even shorter hikes in these conditions can become surprisingly difficult. The temperatures here should never be underestimated. As we explore here a little bit, let's talk a little bit more about the park. There is a visitor center here with a small selection of gifts, water, and a few snacks, but supplies are limited. Visitors should become prepared because there are no nearby gas stations or supply stores to be run out of essentials. Camping is available inside the park in designated areas for those who want to spend more time surrounded by this incredible landscape. However, amenities are very limited, so planning ahead and bringing what you need is very important. Valley of Fire is a beautiful and unforgettable place, but this desert environment rewards preparation. I decided to take a short trip around Elephant Rock so I could explore the area a little bit more. Once I seen the terrain, I had to know more about it. My curiosity always seems to get the best of me. If I see something interesting, I have to find out what it's like and experience it for myself. If I leave without exploring it, it will always be in the back of my mind until I eventually return. Even though this was only a short trail, the desert environment is always something to respect. As I mentioned earlier, the heat here can become intense very quickly, and that is why I always carry my backpack with essential supplies. Even on what seems like an easy hike, you never know what can happen. A simple slip, fall, or an unexpected situation can turn a short walk into a much bigger challenge. Having basic water, basic supplies, and some small safety equipment is always a smart choice when exploring places like the Valley of Fire. Part of the adventure is discovering these hidden corners of the park, but being prepared always allows you to enjoy the experience safely and make the most out of every trail along the way.
Let's go!
Tucked away among the incredible sandstone formations of the Valley of Fire are a few historic stone cabins that offer a glimpse back into the early days of the park. These cabins are easy to miss if you are focused only on the trails and the viewpoints, but they are a fascinating piece of the park's history. Built in the 1930s by the Civilian Conservation Corps, also known as the CCC, these cabins were constructed using native sandstone from the surrounding area. The same red rock landscape that makes the Valley of Fire so famous was carefully shaped into these small, sturdy structures that blended naturally into our surroundings. Standing inside these cabins, feeling the temperature change really gives you an appreciation for the thought and craftsmanship that went into building them. After spending time in the heat of the Valley of Fire, stepping into the quiet, shaded piece of history felt like a perfect reminder of how people adapted to this challenging but beautiful desert environment. Standing here today, it's amazing to think about the effort it took to build these cabins in such a remote desert environment. Workers carefully gathered and placed the stone by hand, creating buildings that were not only functional, but also matched the beauty of the landscape around them. For many visitors, these cabins provided a quiet moment away from the main attractions. The thick stone walls, small windows, and rustic design give you a feeling of stepping back in time and imagining what it would have been like to stay here when the park was still in its early years. Today, the cabins are preserved as historic features of the Valley of Fire. They are no longer used as overnight lodging, but they do remain an important part of the reminder of the people who helped develop this park and make it accessible for future generations.
Let's go.
We are now on the west side of the Valley of Fire, an area filled with even more amazing things to explore. This section of the park features Owl Rock, Arch Rock, the Beehives Formation, camping areas, and several other trails waiting to be discovered. This is Arch Rock area, and it quickly became one of my favorite places on the west side of the park. Being here at midday, the sun is incredibly bright and it washes out some of the deeper colors that you would normally see in the softer morning light. Looking back, I can only imagine how amazing this area would have been at sunrise when the sandstone really comes alive with the changing colors. Even with the harsh midday light, this place is still absolutely incredible. The sculptured sandstone formations create shapes that almost look unreal, like something carved by an artist rather than shaped by nature. Walking around and taking in this landscape, I came across these unique rock formations that looked almost like a nature shelter or a small stone dwelling created by the elements. Of course, my curiosity took over and had to explore further to see what was hidden underneath each corner. The colors, textures, and shapes here are amazing, and this was absolutely something unexpected. The temperatures inside the rock formations was huge relief from the desert sun. After spending time out in the open heat, stepping into the shade of these sandstone structures felt like a natural escape. If I had allowed myself more time here, and if the temperatures were a little cooler, I could have easily spent hours exploring this area. As we explore this final area of the park, I wanted to take a moment to look back and sum up this incredible trip. This adventure originally started as a trip to Zion National Park for a few days, followed by a couple days in Vegas, and then the drive back to Phoenix with a stop off at the Hoover Dam. While planning our trip, we ran across information about the Valley of Fire and thought it looked like an interesting place to stop for the day on our way to Vegas. This one decision completely changed the trip. The park absolutely amazed us, and honestly, we found ourselves wishing we had taken more time away from Vegas and given the Valley of Fire more time. The park may not be huge compared to other destinations, but the amount of scenery, history, and unique landscape packed in this area is incredible. From the colorful sandstone formations, hidden slot canyons, historic cabins, wildlife, and countless viewpoints, there is so much more here to experience. The Valley of Fire has easily become one of my favorite places in Nevada, and it is the place I would return without hesitation. Before planning your visit, there are a few things to remember. Summer in the desert can be extremely hot. Some trails are closed every year from May 15th through September 30th due to the extreme conditions. Make sure you bring plenty of water, plan ahead, and understand that supplies inside the park are very limited. The park entrance fee is $15 per day, non-resident vehicles, and camping is available for those who want to stay overnight, with the reservations recommended because the spots can fill up fast. I have included a link in the description for more information, maps, hours, camping details to help you plan your visit. Valley of Fire is one of these places that stays with you long after you leave. The colors, the landscape, and the feeling of exploring the incredible desert park make it an unforgettable experience. So get out there, explore, and experience the Valley of Fire for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to help the channel reach more people who want to discover amazing places like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.
Open road, you sitting close. Let's go somewhere far away.